Welcome to the Guitar Shop podcast, coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm Wade Stark, owner of Wade's Guitar Shop.
I'm Dan Hintz. I'm not the owner of Wade's Guitar Shop.
Nor am I, and I'm Alex Ballard. Welcome to the podcast.
And I'm not Chef Ramsay, and we're not going to go into that anyway.
We'd like to holler out to Chef Ramsay, though, because you're doing a good job out there, brother. Behind you 100%.
And if you dig the show, Chef Ramsay, please, you can swing by. We would totally let you come in and swear at us.
And cook us some risotto, you
Hell's
pig.
Guitar Shop.
Check us out on the web at wadesguitarshop.com. Questions, comments, anything related to the podcast that you would like to send along to us, send it along to the email address here, wadesguitarshop at sbcglobal.net. That's...
Whatever, Peter Brady.
I can't do anything with that in post either, I think. Well, maybe I can pitch correct that.
You could.
Yeah.
Check us out on iTunes.
You can pitch correct anything.
Miro, Zune Marketplace, and definitely we've got streaming podcasts on the website. Tonight we have a couple of really good emails that we got from viewers, but I want to kick it off by something that is completely spontaneous, and it happened when we came back here to meet to shoot the podcast. Dan just came from another guitar shop where he picked up some groovy pedals and had not only this glow on his face of having cool new gear, but
It was awesome.
I think that was just donut grease.
the wild eyes of somebody with gear acquisition syndrome.
Or gas.
So I said, you know what, we should talk about that. We probably have mentioned before G.A.S, gear acquisition syndrome, but
We should
Distortion box.
put it on the bottom here.
we're going to black out the gassiness over here.
Yes.
Gear acquisition syndrome, G.A.S, is just this incredible urge to spend money that you don't even have on really cool gear. And
Thanks, MasterCard. And thank you, Visa.
Yes.
So
It's always fun till the end of the month, right?
the groovy things that Dan scored are right back here, and I think we should take a look at them because it's not often that I see this extreme of a glow on your face, and you totally had
Well,
gas today.
yeah.
And we closed at 5 today, and you raced across town.
I raced across town. Well,
Through a
for the
busy
most part, it was...
baseball
in rush hour traffic past
The stadium.
Miller Park, where there was a Brewer game about to start.
Past a Brewer game.
This is a true example of gas.
This was the main culprit. The reason why I was speeding across
The target
town was
the box of rocks.
the Zvex box of rock, which boy, band that I'm in, which names. we played with Smoking Popes not too long ago, and the lead guitar player Eli was saying, "Oh, I just love this box of rock. Like I used to play through modded plexis all the time, and now that amp blew up, and every plexi I try to mod it just goes haywire, And so now I'm playing an 800 like really clean through this box of rock thing, and it sounds exactly like my plexi.
Oh.
And at that show that night, I was just listening to his brother play through an all tube Marshall, and him playing through this box of rock through an 800, and I was like, that sounds his box of rock through the 800 sounded better than the distortion on the amplifier. So I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing, and I love it. The little testing I did here at the store was amazing. I've heard it before, but never really got to spend more than a couple minutes with it. It's great. So I did that, and then I just went crazy and saw all the other groovy stuff that Rusty at Rock House had, and so I freaked out and bought this Nady, the TO2. It's an all-tube overdrive that we just took apart and found out that Gaia-Tone, the people who distribute...
Gaia-Tone Japan, yeah.
It's in Japan, yeah.
Distributed through Godlike, and they're very cool pedals.
Yeah. It's a 12AX7 in here. It was $99.
For a tube overdrive.
For a tube overdrive, and it sounds amazing. And the story behind this, and the reason why I got it was I had one of these when I was a kid, when I was about 11, 12 years old, and it just didn't. For me, it was like it just doesn't have enough overdrive, but I wanted a tube-based thing, And I remember playing like playing along to old REM records with this thing and thinking, this is like
I think
the greatest.
you mean REO.
No. For some reason, I got into REO after REM, and then this wasn't like...
So
That
did you,
was
say you were,
horrible.
did you say you were playing Oddfellows Local 151?
151, yeah. This was like my favorite thing to play through this, and now I'm going to have to go home, and my wife won't let me do that because I have to watch the baby.
Now all you need is the Rickenbach.
Yeah, now all I need is the time to do it. But the third thing was like a total wild card. I saw that he had these on his website, and they're cheap. This is a $95 boutique pedal by this company called Devi Ever. And we can put it on the bottom here what their website is. But it's just this sounds like old Smashing Pumpkins, like out of control, like
Super fuzz distortion kind of thing.
Super thick, sustained forever. Not very much control, and it has a texture knob
Very
and a
crazy,
volume knob. It's just full on overdrive, like super trashy, super thick. And I fell in love with it right away. I was like, I'll take it, you know. And then I was like, really, I was walking out, and I'm like, that's all. I was like, I could buy so much more and totally get in trouble, but.
Leave that out 1 second. I want to say one thing, too. To all of you pedal designers out there, please, if you can cram really cool stuff in this little size, these machined aluminum boxes, please. We can fit like 30 of these on a pedal board.
Yes.
We don't need a giant
And
thing
we-
like this
we
that
will
has
buy
one
30 of them.
germanium diode or something in it. Oh, God, please keep making stuff like this. This
And
is
30,
awesome.
30 more for the next pedal
Yeah,
board. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, amazing. I was blown away, and kudos to Rockhouse.
Yeah,
for having
Rusty,
such
thank you for
cool
the
stuff.
great deals.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'm eternally grateful.
And those of you who knew that Rusty had a fire at Rock House a few months ago, he's back up and running. You know, get your butts down there and buy
Say
some
hi.
cool pedals.
Yep.
Yeah, he's rockhouse.com. That's ROCKHAUS. Kind of has a
He's not German, but
Has a
it's very
German thing
Sorry about this whole thing.
dynamite.
No,
Awesome
I
guys.
played.
Great.
Dan let me check out those 3 pedals, and I have, I think, 13 distortion boxes. But those 3 pedals are
on your board. You
On
mean
my board.
like the active
No,
ones.
in total, I think. I don't know. I have a large
don't.
number. No, I don't have more than 13. I don't think.
On your board?
No,
You
not
have 13
even on my
overdrives,
board.
that's it. And then
Okay.
more than
I
that.
don't
You have like, what, 9 on your board or something, though?
You'll have to take a picture of this.
More than
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, how many do you have on your board?
It's a display case with a
Do you actually want to know for
I really
real? Okay.
want to know for real.
Rubber
Let's
feet
start
on it.
left to right. Modded tube screamer. Overdrive special, mostly used as an EQ. Natural overdrive.
unnatural overdrive.
That wraps up episode 12 of the Guitar Stuff Podcast.
DS1 modded. SD1 modded to high hell. What's next? Blues Driver Keeley modded.
When you
French
turn 'em-
Toast Fuzz.
Welcome to episode 13 of the Guitar Shop Podcast.
Turn them all on. They make it. They
The
make
drive
it,
pedal
comes
from
down to
Cool
an
Cat.
unmodded rat.
When we
pedal.
started
the
episode 12,
Wolfgram.
Dan was clean shaven.
Is anybody counting? The Wolfgram pedal and
I should just
the
go shave
a
over.
rat, your rat in a box, and then
And
You have a
then
natural
one
overdrive
more.
or the Dan Electric drive?
yep, I got the French Toast and the Dano drive,
Okay,
and then
right.
I want a hot dog, and I want some ice cream, and I want.
You'll have nothing and like it.
But anyway, I was just going to say the 3 pedals that you have are a perfect example of why one might actually need 13 overdrives. Because all 3 of those are so
13 pedal boards.
vastly different. You know, they're all completely crazy different, and they're all completely useful. I mean, I could use all 3 of them in some scenario, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
The tube overdrive one is the most, to me, amp-like and just sort of all-purpose-like.
Yeah, that was one that blew me away the
Yeah.
most. It
But
was
the box of rocks would be great for leads, and then that boost control is cool.
That's
and
mainly why I got
that other one is just crazy. But it's like a lunk-headed Sustainy Big Muff or something. It's crazy.
And
It's
for
like,
$100,
yeah,
you know, like
for $100, yeah.
U.S. made for $100.
I was going to say this is the Zvex. Zvex made the box of rocks. This is the Fuzz Factory, which is also a completely insane, fun pedal. So,
And
yeah.
it's like a factory inside of that thing. When you
Yeah.
take these apart, it's amazing how much they have. Thank you for making wonderful little
MXR.
boxes like
Yes.
this. Look at
Mr.
how many
Zvex.
look at how many
We love
knobs
you.
are on there. Thank you,
Especially
thank
small,
you,
and it does
thank
all
you.
kinds of crazy stuff, and you can fit about 19 of them on your. On
That's
your
got
pedal board.
more knobs on it than the original, Deluxe Electric Mistress, and it's about a quarter the size. So
know.
God bless you.
If I'd have had 4 of those, I'd never had to date. I would have been single. I'd still be in my basement, like my parents' basement. Anyway, let's go on.
Well, let me ask you this.
Wait, let me just quick say this. The part of the when you were getting out of your car, we got here and you had all the pedals and everything.
I'm so excited.
You were like, I spent all this money and I wasn't going to spend all this money, but I got really good trade-in, so then I had to buy some more. So I mean, that's part of the glory of gas.
That is the glory.
Yeah.
Because it's
I won't let her.
you can't control it. You know, if you got $20 in your pocket, I guarantee.
Believe me, I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'm so excited. It's so great. Yeah, it's fun to buy stuff, and it's inspiration too. You know, I mean, like we're trying to write a new record, and
Those are legitimate tools.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
A
like,
man
I
with
can't
15
wait
distortion
to.
boxes isn't crazy. I'm telling you, man.
I can't wait to work that stuff in. It's exciting.
Well, just on a similar note,
Let it rip.
were you going to do viewer mail?
No, no, we're
well,
rolling.
just I'm the pilot. Imagine, if you will, I'm the pilot on a small Learjet, and we're all in a band together, and we're cruising through the.
Back on the Tiki Island. Wait, no, sorry.
We're cruising through the air. Suddenly, our plane crashes. Almost everything is intact except our pedal boards. We make it to shore, but now we have to set up and play, and we
Wait,
need new.
are we on the Tiki Island again? Is that
Yeah.
the shore we're on?
Well, sort of, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
So we're on Tiki Island, and there's this. We need to have a. We need
I'll
to.
be the skipper. If that's cool.
We're a rock band with a bass player and a drum machine. Anyway, 3 guitars. So we got to play this gig, on this desert island. There's nobody there except this one dude who runs this
So if you
really
play this gig,
kick-ass
then do
used
we get to
effects
go
place
home?
and new effects too. And they're dealers for a lot of new pedals.
They don't have
So-
backline anymore. Now they have an effects shop.
just an effects shop,
All right.
and they make really good subs. But anyway, so you have to put together a pedal board, and you get to pick up to 10 pedals real quick. What would you pick?
10?
Brand new pedal board, up to 10. You can choose 3, but
No,
just
there's
up
no
to
way
10.
I would crash with that much money on me to be able to get 10. I'll do 3.
Everything is intact but your pedal board. It's sunk to the bottom because you had 4,000 delays on it. Yeah.
I can't name 10 because I don't even know what they have, what they carry.
They carry everything, man. This is
I don't
set up.
know what they
All right,
have.
well, I'll tell you what I have.
DOD, Digitech,
EH,
Behringer.
Chevy Ever, Boxer
I'll
Ox,
take
whatever
a
you want.
stack in a
Just
box.
imagine. Here's
All right.
all right, here's my list. And the main,
He's got it
of course I do. This is how my segment works.
All right.
I get a little bit ahead of the curve,
All
you know.
right.
Let's find
But
out what
no,
you
main
do.
purpose just because there's so many.
Spontaneously, let's
The other
find
day
out.
we were talking about all the different pedals that we
We
all
were talking
still want.
like 2 pedals though.
Yeah, but there's a number of them. The other day I thought
You want me to
maybe I
come
should
with
just
5
make a whole
times what we-
separate pedal board because mine is so big I can't move it anymore. But, all right, but I love the Korg Pitch Black, so I just think it's a way cool tuner.
Okay.
Yep. So
Okay, I'll
do
take
one of
that one
those.
too.
Take one of those.
Because we can knock all these out like real
yes.
quick if we
Real quick, we'll just do it real quick.
If we're going to be
We'll just
common,
go
right?
through it. The shape shifter from Seymour Duncan, tap tempo tremolo, variable wave shape, awesome. Best
Wouldn't do it.
thing on the market. I love tremolo. I definitely need one of those.
I
A
can't.
DD20 from Boss,
Do that.
one of the best delays on the market. The RT20 is arguably one of the few devices that can actually do a decent Leslie and has a univibe to boot. Carbon copy, awesome analog
I would do that
delay,
one.
extra delay time, a little modulation added, wonderful. Electric Mistress from EH, it's weird, it's wild, it's wonderful. It just has a real
The original
kinda
big one or
groovy-
the new smaller
No, the very
one?
new, the stereo Electric Mistress,
The much
new one.
smaller one that's in the
Okay, so
but
in
it's
that
stuff
small
actually
die-cast
box.
container. Yeah.
Stuff that you can actually
Yeah.
buy and not stuff
Yeah.
that's like used and obscure.
Well, you can add that if you want, but
Oh, boy.
just a small stone because I like that phaser. Of course, my Keeley comp, don't leave home without it unless it sinks to the bottom, and then you buy a new one on the island. And a VP Junior is just a cool volume pedal. That's my list.
Wait, give me the list. Give me the list.
Yeah.
Give me the list.
And let me quickly say, to anybody out there with Ernie Ball volume pedals, they are fixable. Don't throw them in the garbage.
Don't throw 'em in the garbage.
We have mastered it. Throw them in a box. Send them to us. We'll fix up your
He's
Ernie
mastered.
Ball
Oh
volume
boy!
pedals.
Oh, why did he say
Okay,
that?
I'm
oh, my
gonna-
God.
I'm gonna take.
I am
his-
from Czechoslovakia. I
Okay,
will
okay,
send you
okay.
8
Wait,
million
now you're
pieces
gonna-
of that. I'm not even sure if it's an Ernie Ball. Sorry.
Welcome to episode 14 of the Guitar Shop podcast. All right, I'm just going to run down your list, and I'm going
Okay.
to amend it for what I would like here. Okay, the Korg Pitch Black. That's
I'm there.
actually a great Korg. Korg has always made really great tuners.
Yeah.
The Shape Shifter, I don't have that, but I think I'm with you on that one. That's a pretty amazing pedal. DD20, I'm about to introduce the the Memory Man with Hazarai into my setup, which, primarily because it's
That's from Electro Harmonics.
It's, I don't know, it seems less digitally to me, even though it's totally digital. But
It's got a good filter on it.
DD20 is amazing, and you did the Giga Delay, aka
Demo.
Giga Delay demo in the first podcast, so it is a really amazing demo.
I'm sold on that. Yeah.
RT20, you know what? I think that's awesome, but I have an old original Leslie that's kind of malfunctioning right now, so I think I'm going to get that fixed and go with a real Leslie for my rotating. Carbon copy. Good.
It's awesome.
God, I can't believe that pedal. Obviously, we
It's
mentioned
just
it before.
wonderful.
The carbon copy is
Doesn't
absolutely
make
amazing.
any sense, the price that thing is.
I think we've sold 30 or 40 of those since they came out. It's crazy.
Electro Harmonics, Electric Mistress.
Stereo Electric Mistress.
Stereo Electric Mistress, yeah, the new one, smaller package. Thank you for everybody who's making it smaller, but cram it in there. Yeah, I mean, chorus and flanger mostly,
In
right?
one
Yeah.
pedal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Functionality is limited, but the sounds are good. Has this filter matrix. It's very
If you're
sitar-like.
going to be on this island a while, you're probably going to
Yeah.
be doing some 70s stuff, yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Small stone, small stuff.
I'm not talking music.
You don't have any distortions on here. You're the guy with the
I'm
most
gonna-
distortions
it's
of
an island,
everybody
baby.
that
I'm
I've.
going to play all sorts
that
of clean stuff. This is chicka stuff.
Okay, the Keeley compressor, the VP
I
Junior,
don't get it.
the guy with the most distortions of anybody I've ever met has no distortions on here.
But
So
but
All right.
my
You can't
Nomad amp
defend
didn't
it. You
sync,
already-
so I
you
have the
already-
Nomad, and it's got 18 channels on it. So.
I would do the pitch black as well. No tremolo for me. I have no idea how to use tremolo.
You're not qualified, sir.
I would do the DD20.
Mhm.
I wouldn't do an RT20. I'd do a Univibe.
Okay. Fair enough.
An actual Univibe. Carbon copy for sure.
Okay.
Instead of the Electric Mistress, probably do a TC chorus.
You're upscale.
He took more money than the other
Small
one.
stone. No, I wouldn't do because I'd have the other guy.
Script logo.
No, I would probably.
Well, I got
do-
the old Maestro phaser.
I do
with
a
the roller
flanger.
ball,
Oh, yeah,
so
you
I'm-
get
I'm-
the-
I do an
I'm-
MXR
Super
flanger
phaser.
instead of a small stone.
MXR
Keeley
flange,
compressor
huh?
for sure.
Okay.
And then you've only got 9 on here, which I don't understand. That's a whole
Here's
other
my
thing.
top 10 pedals.
The
Well,
other two.
there was another pedal. I
the other
put
two
on.
would
Oh,
be
he's got the DoD Supra distortion on the back.
Super distortion.
the Maxon
You
808
cannot.
Worst
for 9.
distortion ever.
and the Expandora.
The Maxon 808, good call.
For
Really
10.
excellent overdrive. Yeah. That's my 10th pedal. How's that sound?
That sounds like now you're really thinking about it.
Really?
You were mailing
Guess
it
what?
in
There's
before.
no electricity on the island. Oh, also, I was going to say,
lemons
who's
and-
the pilot of the airplane?
He died in the.
Was
crash.
that like the whole question? Like,
Yeah, I think I said I'm the
as I was
pilot
going through
of
St.
the-
Ives?
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
Anyway, that was fun. I think
That
we
was-
all learned something.
That was fun. We should do that.
Every episode, you think?
That was great.
All right, it was
all right.
uncomfortable, but we're through it now. We've made it through the other side.
All right.
Can we
now,
take the blue hue off
now
now, at
that
least?
fun
Yeah.
time is over, let's get down to
The blue filter.
Let's get
Yeah.
down to the serious business here.
The hard
We
work
were all going
at
to
hand.
attempt to do like some kind of Irish dance thing now, and I'm the only
We
one.
don't
practiced.
have time.
We don't have wigs. We don't have costumes.
And the costumes
The floor
are
is
really, really
I've got,
expensive.
these are
We're
definitely
sober.
not Irish dance shoes.
Actually, I'm going to take a quick shout out to my dad tonight, who it's a little after Father's Day, but I just got in the mail today. My dad,
Check
my
out
dad-
the Derby,
My dad
baby.
sent me this groovy hat with the guitar on the side, and
Some initials, which aren't Wade's initials, so I don't know.
it
If you
says
want to email Wade's dad,
it says USA, and this is
Ulrich Sam
wade'sdad.com.
Applewood.
so it's my
Sent it in Applewood.
my new lid for the night. Thank you, Dad. Very cool.
Thanks, Wade Dad.
But actually, what I did want to talk about tonight was something that somehow we've sort of overlooked for 11 episodes, but not for
Our
12,
dads.
and that is, oh my papa.
Oh, my papa.
Remember that episode of Gomer Pyle where Jim Neighbors sang "Oh my papa"?
I remember the one where he says, golly! Well, that was every episode.
That was
Golly, Sarge. We're going to talk about
beat.
retro guitars. This is sort of, particularly from kind of the dialogues we get in the shop and seeing the way this sort of thing unfolds. There is a lot of people out there absolutely obsessed with Strats, Tellys, and Les Pauls to the point where
Standards.
nothing can ever be in their little toolbox other than the Strat, Telly, or Les Paul.
And what's wrong with that again?
Well,
no, I'm just...
Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, other than the fact that it's like driving, you know, a green Volkswagen Beetle in the mid-'60s or something, you know, and everybody on the block has one. They're great guitars. We obviously...
But there are other guitars.
We sell them, we love them. Well, there are a lot of really cool, funky, cheap things out there, and there's a lot of really cool guitarists now who are, you know, taking the time to put those things on the map. I mean, Jack White, for instance. He even says, you know, he wants a guitar that doesn't stay in tune, and
he has to wrestle with.
He's got to fight it, right? But what very often happens is either with retro guitars or kind of funky old catalog guitars, people who've got these really great playing Strats, Tellys, and Les Pauls play one of these funky guitars, and they're like, you know what? It's just not as good as my Les Paul. I want to trade it back in.
Done. Yeah.
But here's my plea to you. Stick it out and give them a chance and leave them in the arsenal, because these guitars are absolutely songwriters waiting to be tapped into. I mean, they have got sounds and a feel that you're not going to get on a Strat. They make you play differently. They sound different.
They're going to take you someplace different.
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe. But Jocelyn, if you could kind of shoot these bunch of guitars back here, I stacked up a bunch of things that are not only a few oddballs we had in the store, but some of our personal guitars. And yeah, I mean, look at this thing. This is a new retro guitar. I mean, it's actually used, but it's a guitar that's, you know, currently being made. This isn't from the 50s or 60s. It's a little company called Italia. Yeah, flip it around, Dan. Show off that fine mother of what they call mother of toilet seat.
That's my only concern, is that, you know, the shortage of toilet seats now might be.
Well, I don't think they even cover toilet seats in that anymore. That was the 50s and 60s too. I mean, accordions,
hollow
guitars,
in the middle.
toilet seats. Yes.
It's like the bottom, like a church basement floor or something like that.
Looks like my dinner work.
Yeah, don't drill this out and make it into a scribbage or cribbage.
Scribbage.
Play a little scribbage.
That's a practice scribbage game. It's scribbage.
The hat's on too
We're
tight.
going to scrimmage a little before we play
They're
cribbage.
getting lightheaded.
Yes, we're gonna play.
This
Go on all night. With
We're headed to crivets. Yeah.
this guitar sells. We looked these up. These are what, like $5.50 new? Isn't that what you found?
About 8 times
550,
cheaper than a Les
570.
Paul.
And it's about, you know, $375 used, and it is, in my opinion, way cooler than, like, you
It
know, a
sounds great.
knockoff Les Paul or something.
Yeah, I mean, versus, let's say, an Epiphone Les Paul, you know, this kind of has the same type of feel. It's got a real beefy tone, and it plays better. I mean, it plays great.
It's great.
You know?
Yeah.
It's absolutely
Walk on stage
wonderful.
with that thing. Come on, make a statement. It's awesome.
Wow.
Grab the next
Well, I
one.
just set it up today. It's
I'm on a
pretty
roll.
nice.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Damn.
Damn, everybody's talking me into everything tonight. I don't know what.
All right, so this little beauty here is probably early 70s, 1970ish, right in there. It's a K catalog guitar, but it's Japanese made, probably by, you know, Tiesco del Rey or
It's got an 8 million ply neck.
Crazy.
That thing ain't going nowhere.
the neck looks like it's made out of a tiny little bowling alley.
It does.
Yeah, the
This
neck
is when they made bowling alleys good.
Yeah.
Yes, it's little switch-o-matic pickup selectors. You know,
Hundreds of years in the
funky
future.
whammy bar, but
This neck will still
but
be here.
the neck is
Yeah,
straight.
that's weird.
It plays great, but it sounds like there's not a Strat or Telly in the world that sounds like this guitar.
You know what else? These
Beck will be
these
calling
these
us pretty
pickups
soon for
that
this
they put in
guitar.
some of these old guitars sound insane in a real good way. A lot of people have just taken pickups out of some of those funky old guitars and stuck them in Strats or
Yeah.
Les Pauls or something. But they definitely have a voice, you know. Pawn shop prize here.
Yeah, here's
That's the
here's-
crown
here's
jewel right there.
my newest guitar, which is a little 22-inch scale, Supro made, you know, under the branding of Tosca,
Tosca.
Tosca.
Oh, it's a Tosca.
But, you know, it's got these funky, you know, late 50s national single coil pickups that look like humbuckers. It's a little hardwood body with a bolt-on neck. The neck
Two
is
bolts.
just absolutely fat. The two bolts don't even hold the neck on. One bolt holds the neck and the other one tilts the neck.
You're kidding me.
No.
Yeah, live on the edge
But
over
this
there, Tosca.
guitar absolutely plays and sounds amazing, and it's a whole new twist to my sound. And I play old harmonies and Ks and silver tones and funky guitars from the 50s and 60s. And this
It barks like a freaking dog, too.
Yeah, it
I'll
does.
tell you what.
These pickups are amazing.
Both the neck and the bridge, we were monkeying with it today.
It's really comfortable to play too.
It just sounds amazing.
The scale is
The
great.
tone of it is insane, too. Nice piece.
Cutie. What a cutie.
Here,
What else you got over there, Dan?
Here's
I'm just gonna hang with this.
Dan's done for the night.
Hey!
Here's another one of mine. This is a Saturn 63, and this is from Eastwood Guitars. So this is a new guitar, which is a reissue of a guitar that was made back in the 60s.
From Hoff.
And you know, like we very seldom can do around here, I couldn't leave this alone. Had to mod it. So I took the two single coil pickups, which were humbucking in the middle position, and stacked them up, and they actually fit inside the hole here, stacked up. So I've got
Just
a humbucker
crazy enough
here
to work,
of
baby.
the two pickups.
It was baffling to my mind watching you do that.
I've got an old floating de-armament here off of a late 50s Harmony.
Sounds amazing.
Hollow body Stratotone, great sounding pickup. And a really old, really early Seymour Duncan Jeff Beck JB model in the bridge here. And I rewired the switches, but I used the existing 3-way and 4-way rotary switches, but just rewired them to my needs with a master volume.
It looks like a spaghetti in there,
That's no problem.
But it does. There's 8 million different tones out of it, and they're all great. It's pretty damn amazing.
Yeah,
Great
and
vibrato.
It did not, you know, it didn't speak to me right at the beginning. We really had to get to know each other, and I could not live without this guitar now. This is just one of my go-to guitars when
I've heard it live.
when there's a sound and a feel
good.
that I know that I need.
Really.
Love it. Love it. Thank you.
I know we're gonna get emails on that one. What's it made out of?
Well,
What's
we
that
sold
metal?
one today, and
Yeah, we sold
he
one.
was
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
like that.
So here's
Oh yes, this is my little friend here, the Stormbird. I always wanted a Firebird, and they're kind of expensive.
yeah. Oh yeah.
They're pricey.
costs money.
They're really costly. So I played them a couple times, and you know I like them okay, but they're spendy. Those things cost a lot of money. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we'll cut this out in post. But anyway, this thing was cheap as. I think I paid for it. It was $400, and it's amazing. Look at this thing.
It was effing cheap as
I don't think
effing.
he's fully paid it off yet.
I don't even think I own this guitar at this point. I financed this thing. But,
Did you
no.
kiss your mom with that mouth?
Oh, Christers, I do.
You couldn't afford
Anyway,
it.
this is the Wisconsinian accent episode 92. But, you know, again, I love the look of it, and not unlike the Gibson Firebirds, as I started playing it, I wasn't in love with it either.
I was speechless.
I felt like it needed a big speed. So. Ooh, glory be!
Oh God, Ma, keep driving.
Oh.
Don't look out the window.
Should have inserted a music video.
Anyway, let me go over this real quick. I stuck a Bigsby on there,
Ooh,
put a
let's go
roller
over it
bridge
real
on
quick.
there.
What 10 things would you do to your
Let's see,
guitar?
how long ago did we put this Bigsby on here?
How long did you put it on?
No, how long ago did we put it on? 6 months ago?
I don't remember.
6 months, a year ago,
it's
we
been
put
about a
this.
year.
Up with you.
It's been about a
Okay,
year.
so a year ago we put this Bigsby on. It's still in tune. It hasn't gone out of tune ever. So that's crazy.
Any
And
have to
then,
change the strings or play the game
No.
with it? Or
but I beat the hell out of it. It's got a Seymorized mini humbucker in there. Did a few modifications to this guy to make it. And then we had to do some crazy mods on these machine heads because a lot of people are like, "Where did you get those Keystone 6 on the side? They don't make those." Well, exactly. So we had to mod those and do it. I guess I will just rest my case there.
The note on the Bigsby is here that Bigsbys have the reputation of not staying in tune, but Alex and I and Dan will all attest. Please, you know, once again, if we haven't mentioned
You
Bigsbys
ain't
enough
doing it right.
on the podcast, Bigsbys are amazing and they do stay in tune. Do not
Don't give up on the
resist
Bigsby.
the Bigsby.
And don't give up on the idea of the Bigsby.
what is this?
Tell
It's
us all about it.
63.
Tell me about it.
'63 Dano reproduction.
Dan Electro.
This looks like the Beck guitar.
Again, this is a new company, so I mean Dano goes back to the 50s, but this is a guitar from 2008, and they are cheap and cool.
They're made to look old.
Yeah.
The yellow.
Kind of
Cool.
toned down hardware. And really good lipstick pickups. They finally, the last couple years, they really nailed the lipstick pickups. So we actually had a silver tone Dano made by the same company with this guitar, but with a single pickup, which I think is how they came mostly, right? The original versions
No,
of these?
they came single and two pickup. Right?
But
this
the day
is
we
actually
unpacked
the ratio
these,
of the two pickup.
of the two pickup. Day we unpacked these, I took the single pickup silver tone we had, and I immediately walked over there and plugged them both in, and they nailed it. It was really, really good. Yeah, I guess an ex-Duncan guy made the pickups.
Who bought the single pickup?
Nick from Franz Ferdinand. So please, you send us an email and tell us how much you love your
Hi,
guitar. And
Hope you like the silver tone.
it was an awesome show too. He got us into the show when they were in town, and they were very, very wonderful guests. So thank you,
We should,
Franz Ferdinand.
We should really show some love to our friends over at Harmony.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why wouldn't we?
Right down the block in Chicago. This is the Richie Valens signature Stratotone H44.
Rent the movie.
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, he plays
La
this.
Bamba.
Yeah.
La
Yes.
Bamba.
This is before his
This is exactly
famous
what
Sunburst Strat. He went from
Yeah.
he's running around.
And Charlie at
Running around
Harmony
California with.
went to great pains to reproduce these things dead on, which went right down to getting actual models and having them torn apart to measure the thicknesses of woods, braces, scales, everything. So these are fantastic.
the knobs on there. Nobody made the knobs. He had to completely have the knobs refabricated. So he really went way out and did a great job.
Yeah, these are wonderful. Yeah, Harmony. Check them out.
Check him out.
Check them out.
What else you got back there, Dan?
One other funky, grab that airline though. This is another Eastwood product, but this is a reissue of the old airline fiberglass map guitars, which they actually also did in a wood body
Which
too.
looks fiberglass.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it,
finish.
it totally does. But you know,
The
they're
added bonus of it being wood, yeah.
their company's really going kind of to the extra mile to make their repros
A little bit better.
even more upscale. So this is Korean made, you know, stock with a Bigsby, you know, right down to the to the machining on the little switch plates and whatnot.
And the tone switch plate being upside down.
Yes, yes, yes. 0 frets. You
Grover
know,
tuners.
oh, how adventurous and awesome are companies who are going back to using 0 frets? Not only
Which
because
just works great.
yeah,
I
it's,
love a 0
It's a
fret.
proper repro, but they work fantastic. It's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Chambered mahogany, too, instead of Resoglass.
Yeah, this guitar weighs about 5.5, maybe 6 pounds. So those of you who like a nice light guitar,
Perfect.
that's got great
Fit and
sustain.
finish on here. It's
It
just
sounds
beautiful.
amazing.
But that
It looks amazing.
that is a beautiful guitar.
If you ever wanted to play an original one of these, they're great, but this thing is even better as far as just really getting out there and playing a gig with it.
Oh yeah, it's
It's
gonna
a
stay
working
in
machine,
tune. It's ready for the road.
And they
It's-
look identical.
Got that same roller saddle I got. In fact, that's what I put on my Eastwood. That roller saddle works great with that Bigsby.
But you know the point with the retro guitars and you know the funky old catalog guitars is stick with them. You know they've got a place in your guitar lineup. You know don't become disconcerted because they don't play and sound as cool as your Stratocaster.
Yeah, when you need that unique sound, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
I mean,
gonna
the
be
same
all
parallel with
difference.
those distortion boxes. It's like you can have one really good distortion box. That's great, you know.
And you can have
But
the one that everybody
You
else
can have
is
3
gonna have.
really
Yeah,
good
it's,
distortion boxes.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need 13 distortion boxes. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
I'm about there with you. I gotta admit.
You didn't have any on your list. You're on the island without them all. They're home crying like a bunch of orphans.
Oh,
But
boy, yeah, you're right. Sometimes I just got to get away from them brothers. Yeah.
Distance is set up.
I got to chill.
they're getting clingy.
We're going to have to talk.
They started talking to me too much. I'm up there talking to them.
They call me at work and want to know how my day is.
I'm almost out of batteries. Sheesh.
I got a lot of pedals to feed.
I'm almost
Let's get back to
plugged
work,
in.
boys. Yeah.
They're like gremlins. Huh? Put batteries in them after 12 o'clock.
All right, we are going to jump on to viewer mail right now. This first one that comes from Phil K. in New
Phil
Jersey.
K.
Phil K.
Phil K.
Another Jersey. Shout out to Jersey.
Hi guys, I've been playing 5 years, but I don't have much knowledge of working of the guitar. I've seen a bunch of your podcasts so far, and they're really helpful. My question is there any way to learn guitar wiring by yourself? Any useful books or videos? I bought a beginner guitar dirt cheap to experiment with, but I don't really know what to do with it. I was thinking about switching the pickup with an equally cheap one just to see if I could get it to work. Good idea? Most materials on the subject already expect a good deal of knowledge and don't give enough info, theory, or explanation to adapt what you know to different wiring situations. If you don't have that exact guitar and you're a novice, it's hard to get anything useful. You seem like the perfect guys to answer these questions. Thanks a lot. So,
Tear it apart. Tear it apart.
Over and over.
At the end of the day, you can't. I think you have to do quite a bit to really ruin what you have, and what you have probably, if you do ruin it, is replaceable pretty easily. You know, pots and things like that. And the only way to really learn is to pull things apart, get to know how a soldering iron works. You know, the limitate how because solder's weird within itself. I mean, when you're using it, it's at a different temperature than. You know, it's different than water, or you know, once it's hot, and it pools in a certain way, and it kind of, you can even solder. I mean, I've even soldered things that are sort of vertical. You know, I mean, it sticks in a certain place if you do it a certain way, and the only way to know that is to just do it. I mean, find an old AM radio that blew up, doesn't work. Take it apart and try soldering things back and forth on it. It may sound hokey, like, oh, it's a huge waste of time, but it's not. I mean, any experience you get with your hands that way, especially with soldering and with electronics, it's all useful at the end of the day. I mean, it all adds up to being comfortable with what you're doing, and everything's just going to get a lot easier, and it's going to make sense at some point.
Well, there is a book, too, that I really, really love, and I bought you guys each a copy of it. It's called Guitar Electronics for Musicians.
Amazing book.
It is a great book, and it really does start at the beginning explaining, how a pickup works, how a potentiometer works.
We should get the number for the book and who makes it.
I will do that.
I like that it says Guitar Electronics for Musicians, because it should almost say Guitar Electronics for idiot musicians or whatever. I mean, what they're trying to say is this is electronics for musicians, not for electronics geeks.
Right, right.
Yeah, the book does kind of
People
predate, the whole for dummies kind of thing. It really is, layman's terms.
Book.
And by the end of the book, it is schematics and detailed explanations of awesome things from the late 70s when it was written. So I enjoy the pictures too
all the best
of the
stuff
dudes
happened.
with the big hair and the crazy mustaches and the bell bottoms showing off their 70s Ibanez that they just wired the preamp on.
I have an active Alembic with a whole bunch of batteries in it.
Totally. They have crazy stuff in there that you'd never see again, but they lay it out in such a way that you can understand it, and anything you might go and try to tackle is going to pale in comparison to the crazy things that are in that book, and it just makes it easier inherently.
An analogy too for me that I've used over the years, which you can use for sound or recording or guitar pedals or anything like that, is following the path. There's always a path to follow, and at least for me, the soldering part, I used to be like intimidated by the soldering part of it, which is not to say I'm great at soldering, but that seems insignificant to me now in terms of what you actually have to learn. But the statement I was going to make is, it's not a place, it's a journey. That you don't ever, it's not like I'm going to learn guitar electronics this morning and you're done, or you can go to school for it or whatever too.
There's nothing wrong with just having.
Well, I mean, it's great to be able to just work on your own guitar in a basic sense.
A couple of pieces of wire and just soldering them back and forth,
But if you could take that guitar that Saturn that Wade put together and actually try to visualize how he wired that with these multiple switches, things that are in and out of phase, in parallel, in series, various capacitors. I mean, just to visualize the path of that guitar, you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and do that.
No way.
But soldering is a dicey because
That's
it's a hollow body. It's like a ship in a bottle. I mean, try soldering on a ship as it's moving. But don't be intimidated by the soldering part. Practice the soldering part. You'll get the basics of that. But
there's a lot of resources too. I mean, SeymourDuncan.com has schematics. So I mean, almost any sort of pickup combination and control combination, it's all laid out, and it's laid out in picture form. It's not like a schematic. I mean, super user friendly, and it's just, like you said, unintimidating. You know, like, go try it, do it. You know.
Well, and from the beginning, you know, here's the things that you want to learn first. You want to learn how a potentiometer works. You want to learn how a switch works, and you want to understand what a capacitor does. Because if you understand those three, you're going to have the switch, the volume, the tone, and how dark the tone is going to get as you roll it off.
It's never been easier to do that with all the information they have on the internet.
On the internet now.
Then when you look at all those schematics, yeah, it's going to start to make sense when you have the basics. And tool-wise, soldering gun, not the gun type. You want a pencil with a nice clean tip on it. A good chunk of sandpaper to sand that tip and keep it clean. A wet sponge that you can wipe the tip off when you need to. And a digital volt ohm meter. You know, absolutely crucial, so you can check continuity, so you can check the output of pickups, so you can check the
ice, Band-Aids, aloe vera.
And as my son
You'll figure that out later.
As my son kid would say, safety glasses.
Never lick the solder gun. But no,
don't squeeze a super glue bottle pointed towards your face because there's nothing coming out.
But no, just today you were working on some crazy Framus or something like that with all kinds of crazy switches. Hagstrom, different pickups and everything. So you're not, you know, it's one of those things where, like, Wade and Dan kind of consulted on it, followed the path, got the meter out, started poking around in there, formulated a plan, and then wired this thing, and then Dan wired it up, and it sounded great. It had a lot of versatility to it. But, you know, so the basic wiring stuff, you know, and the basic soldering stuff, you know, that's not rocket science per se.
Expose yourself to it.
But to be able to do what Wade does with every, because every guitar that walks into here is different in every mod. We had this customer, Def, who used to be like, I want this guitar to, and he would just lay out these crazy things. Actually, it's right there. Or one of them.
And he's not Def. That's his name, Defram.
Yeah, Defram is his name. But we would just do these crazy wiring things, and no matter whatever, you know, he would want, Wade could figure it out, you know. So anyway, I mean, you don't be frustrated if you can't figure out every possible freaking scenario, and you may have to wire pickups numerous times, and you know,
it's all
to get it right.
Yeah.
So
there's no shame in at any age or any experience level. Just jump in there, like basic stuff.
Well, and do it the way I used to do, like with fixing motorcycles. Read 2 pages and then try and do it before you read the whole thing. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
And you're doing it. Yeah. It makes sense. You're doing the hands-on.
Don't read the whole thing.
I got leftover pots, Wade.
But it works.
Pretend as if you can extrapolate from just a little bit. All right. Got a little definition for extrapolate right here. Our last email, a little bit long, but it covers both kind of a question, comment, and he came back to us about favorite hometown guitar shops. So we'll try and bust through this one as quickly as we can. Keep up the great shows. Next time I'm in Milwaukee, I live in Minnesota, so it does happen sometimes. I will stop in for some strings or a pedal. I have 2 favorite stores over here. My local place is Twin Town Guitar. I live in the burbs. My local, in a geographic sense, is probably Guitar Center, but I only go there for the occasionally emergency string purchase. Which is weird, you know, there really is kind of a frequent embarrassment with, like, real gearheads about going to Guitar Center. You know, they're the big block guy, but, you know, if they're the guy down the block and they got $4 packs of strings or whatever, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I was going to say, on the phone, when people ask for something that I know they have at Guitar Center that I don't think any of the local shows, somebody asked about PRSs, like where to get a PRS. I said, we don't have any, you know, I don't think any of the, and I was like, it's almost like I don't want to offend the guy, like, or maybe
but it's just saying,
go to Guitar Center, and I'll be like, oh, I'll never, because sometimes you get that reaction. Oh, I never go there. No. Why would you?
What, Walmart next?
What, you expect me to be one of those guys that go, you know, like, it's okay, it's a guitar store, like, it has stuff you need.
You want a Paul Reed Smith, it's 8 miles away. You know?
Americans work there.
Yeah, it's, hey, go for it, you know, hey.
No, I've been to, you know, I think the corporate aspects of Guitar Center that suck, you know, do affect the overall scene, but sometimes I've been to Guitar Centers where people were real friendly. And
every
nice,
place
and
has its
good,
purpose,
so,
you know.
Whatever.
It's all all good.
Okay, but his
Being all like, what, you don't like going to guitar center? Sorry. No, we totally respect your thing that's going on here. But
well, the idea of our question was the little mom and pop shop, the little guitar shop. So he says, when I venture across the Mississippi River to St. Paul, I am occasionally lured by the songs of the vintage vixen. A mythical temptress who makes you want things you can't afford.
I see.
I know
she
her.
bit me this afternoon.
And this vixen takes him to Willie's Guitars in St. Paul, which is an
Shout out to
amazing,
Willie.
absolutely amazing shop. If anything, they're actually nicer than the folks at Twin Town, maybe a little more outgoing. The staff can play. Oh my, Nick and Doug can both melt your face with telelicks. Any member of the staff can impress in their own way, and even the customers seem to play way above average. And that is kind of one of the cool things about, you know, a sort of a more professional shop is you get some pretty amazing guitarists sitting in there giving you sort of a free concert. The last time I was there, I met Richie Havens, who was checking out guitars the day after a show in Minneapolis. The instruments are amazing. They have the occasional extremo primo vintage piece, but the emphasis is on excellent quality vintage gear for people who really play. Prices are high but fair for what you get. New stuff includes, and he lists off a lot of their cool products. But he says, you know, one thing I would love for you guys to talk about on a show sometime is compensated nuts like the Buzz Fighting System and Nirvana, which, you know, when I saw this question, I'm like, you know, this is kind of the stumper for us because we've never gotten into it. We approached the Buzz Fighting company at one point, and it was
They wouldn't tell us what it was all about.
yeah,
That was a
we
weird thing.
we wanted to order just one of something to give it a try, wanted to learn the system, but it was, you know, without sounding insulting, it was a little bit Scientology-ish, you know, like you got to be on board and you got to buy a pretty big kit and everything. And we
Yeah,
only
it seemed like they
we
they wouldn't give us enough technical information.
Like, oh, you're
but
going to
yet
steal it.
they were
you
kept
know.
telling us on how much money we would make, and it just started to feel like, well, okay, tell us what the deal is. Well, I don't know.
But what it kind of boils down to, though, is we only get a request for something like this maybe once every couple of years. So, I mean, this is
true.
not something
It's
that
very
everybody is really missing and dying for. This is something I think that, you know, for the guys who have the really well-trained ear or like OCD ear, they're looking for a correction to something they absolutely can't get, and that is perfect intonation. And the idea behind these
And
systems,
it may not actually be the nut. You know, it may.
yeah.
Well, that's the phenomenon that I see is people go from starting out playing guitar to getting kind of good at it, and if they happen to coincidentally have good ears, they reach a point where they start to realize the limitations of the intonation of the instrument. It's a temper-tuned instrument. If I squeeze really hard up here or play really soft, I'll get two completely different intonations. They're just not exact. And when you play and when you get good at playing, you self-intonate by squeezing and bending and moving, and you know, and that's what happens. But if you get real,
Well, even how hard you hit the strings will make
yeah.
them go.
yeah. So I mean, you do reach a point where you can get a little crazy about it, and there are instruments that play better intonation than others, but. I don't know. I mean, to me, if you can move the saddles,
It has to do with the instrument as well, because you know, a 3-saddle telly.
right?
No way I'd go through all the trouble of a
Yeah.
Buzz Fighting, because there's no way
You got
can,
3 set, you know.
You
right.
can completely but that's the charm of the instrument. You know, I mean.
Yeah, and I used one in the studio the other day, and there was, you know, some intonation issues, which I corrected with my finger. You know,
It's an interesting
Yeah.
concept, and it, you know, basically, I mean, what I gather from it is the nut itself is like sort of jagged
Compensated
and
to some
at
degree.
different, you know,
It is
links for
the nut slots are moved
almost intonated.
slightly closer to the first fret on several strings. So at the very furthest back, a string is where the nut normally butts up against the edge of the fingerboard, and then some of the strings will actually extend the nut out over the fingerboard towards the first fret a little bit. We'll put a link in the podcast notes that'll have a little website that'll explain what's going on there, and you could decide for yourself if it's something you really want to look into. Maybe if you're having like some very precise recording situations where your guitar is just not doing it.
I guess you get more.
No, I've got another question.
Well, I was just going to say, I guess if like on a couple instances we've had acoustic guitars, or just guitars in general, where guys want to do these extreme low tunings. Like
Yeah.
In which case, we're trying to do whatever the heck we can do to sort of make an instrument that is definitely not going to intonate better. You know, we've glued pieces of bone on the back end of saddles and cut nuts and done, you know. So, I mean, there's definitely reasons to, you know, to go farther with it, but I don't know.
Another thought, maybe you guys have some tips on the order in which to chain effects together. I have played around a lot and come up with a general policy of putting distortion first, then any kind of delay or modulation afterwards, the exception being a wah, which would go before anything. But I am interested in other points of view on this subject. Thanks for writing back. If you're in the Twin Cities, be sure to stop by in my store, and this is not his guitar shop, but he's saying in his business, which is called Envision Distinctive Eyewear. Kind regards, Anthony. Thank you for the email, Anthony. That is awesome. Chaining pedals together, and you know this is kind of interesting because we've all also been mentoring our instructor here at the shop, Anthony, who is kind of back into playing in bands after a number of years off of that. And he's putting together a new pedal board, and he just hasn't done this in a long time, so we've sort of been mentoring him on pedal boards, and we've really kind of been getting into it. But go ahead, Dan, you kick it off with chaining pedals together. What's your faves?
My take on it is, I mean, for me, I always go, you know, any sort of tuning device is the very first thing.
And when you say first, are you saying guitar goes in there?
Guitar goes straight in there.
Right.
Just because I want the cleanest signal going. I don't want anything modulating it, detuning it, whatever. So it's straight into a tuner. Then I go straight compressor. Because I want the compressor to be as much a part of the guitar as anything else. Then, you know, like he said, wah effects. Things that sound close to wah, auto wahs, like an envelope filter.
Frequency-oriented devices.
Yeah, but more stuff that are in the wah category.
Okay.
And I always lump phasors
on stock.
and univibes. And then after that, everything else after that, like anything modulation or delay based that needs a nice clean signal.
Vocoders?
I do a vocoder. Yeah. I'm crazy like that.
I'm on a boat.
And then what after that? Straight in the amplifier, baby. Boost pedals. After
At
distortions.
The end? Okay.
After distortions.
Yeah.
If you do them before, it just adds more gain to your overdrives. And it only works as a boost when you're in clean mode because the distortion just kind of compresses it all up and just, you know, makes it more gainy, but for a more clean boost. If you want the boost to do what it's doing for your clean
you want
sound,
it to actually boost the signal. Right?
do it afterward. Yes.
But yeah, to every rule and exception, you can use a boost pedal to make a distortion box freak out.
You can put delays before and get that Neil Young sort of sound.
Yeah, and we used to talk about, won't use the word we used, but pummeling the delay.
Yes.
You know, like using an overdrive running into a delay.
Or pummeling the wah pedal.
Or
like
pummeling
a lot
wah,
of the
right.
shoegazer where it's like, you know, like after the distortion. You're like,
Right,
oh
right.
my God.
Well, I think the idea, though, with what you were saying is about the fundamentals. There's a fundamental truth to what you said about putting together a pedal board. The rest is sort of like exceptions
It's
to the
more,
rule.
experimentation.
So if you know to put your tuner first, you're doing that because you're throwing your guitar nice, straight, uninterrupted signal into the tuner, so you can get
I'm
your
looking
guitar
at it from the technical
accurately in
side.
tune.
What,
You're then squashing your nice clean signal with the compressor so that you're taking this now controlled dynamic and sending that through the rest of your system, and it will stay controlled throughout. You're not going to lose your compression.
It's not going to be affected by, I just turned on my phaser and now it's getting squashed down even more because the phaser's a little bit louder. Or, it's.
I don't use a wah much, but you're saying like the wah effects next after that. For me, in my chain next comes my graphic EQ, because I'm still kind of fine-tuning my guitar sound before I start throwing it into some crazy effects.
Yeah, it's closer to the guitar. If you put it afterward, it's going to affect your overdrives and everything else. Yeah. So, there's
sometimes
no complete
too,
right or wrong.
You can let's say you've got distortion boxes and compression, and as a result of the particular distortion boxes or compressors, you lose some bass. You can put an equalizer after that to recover
your
frequencies
way.
that are gone, or I run my
It's a trick.
my tuner at the end because it has 2 outs and I go to 2 amps. I mean, that's the only reason I run it at the end. Kind of everything kind of goes through that, And I actually run all of my non-distortion, non-compression effects through an effects loop, which is a whole nother...
So is that the evolution of the Keeley true bypass looper? Is
Nope.
No.
The way my pedal board works is I go from my guitar into a volume wah. I like to have the volume before the compressor, but you can do it after too.
Right.
But I go volume.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I go volume wah first, then I go into my Keeley bypass loop. So I go guitar, volume wah, bypass loop, which can take me straight into my amp. That way, the only thing I'm running through is the wah,
so
is
that's
the volume.
bypassing everything.
Everything goes straight into the amp, and then I click it, and I go through my. At this point, and I've done this a couple different ways, I go into my Keeley at that point. Then I go to the 13 distortion boxes and to the tuner out.
I don't see where you'd be losing any sort of signal.
Well, that's the nice thing about the Keeley. But for a while, though, I was actually going into the loop bypass into a couple of the distortions. There was a sound that I liked on that Wolfgram made one where I took the volume and
Todd
turned
Wolfgram at Dave's Guitar
at
Shop.
Dave's Guitar Shop. Hello, thank you for the wonderful pedal. He custom made it for me, and I would take the volume and turn it all the way up, and the gain and turn it all the way down, and it has fanned fets, if you will. But it has one set of fets, or two set of fets, or three set of fets. So
Three set of fets, two set of fets.
But anyway, I'd put all three fets on and turn the volume all the way up and the gain all the way down.
What are you doing after
but
this?
let me tell you.
You gotta wrap this up quick.
Okay, but it was super loud. It was too loud, but it sounded amazing. So I ran it before the compressor, and I got the same sound, but the compressor, toned it down. So, and when I was reading through the Keeley thing, Keeley was saying,
If only this
I was
podcast
reading
were
through the
over.
but when I was reading through Keeley, he said
wife's
try
doing
using overdrives before the Keeley, just to see what happens. So I've been doing a little of that.
As the plane went down.
So I've been doing a little
As
of
the plane
that.
went down. The
As
effects
the
boxes flew up to land.
as the plane
Long
went
story
as the
short,
plane went
I've been
down,
doing
we landed in the water. Alex grabbed onto his pedal board and sank to the bottom of the ocean. So it wound up being a two-man show. This has been episode 12 of the
You
Guitar
can't
Shop
edit me
podcast.
out. You can't
Check
get
us out
rid
at
of me.
waynesguitarshop.com. Send us emails, questions, comments. waynesguitarshop at sbcglobal.net. Thank you, Dan. As always, Alex.
Thanks you, Mr. Wayne.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Jocelyn. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Box
We
of
will-
rocks.
And it's over. We will be back soon.
We're out of here.
Welcome to the jungle.